Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Mom.
Okay, how are you today?
We're fine. We're good.
We're good.
Okay, that's good to hear that all of you are good and fine with this day. So, are you familiar about a Greek mythology?
Yes,
Or do you
ma'am.
have any idea about Greek mythology?
Yes, ma'am.
You may raise your right hand if you want to answer. Okay, Miss Regine.
Greek mythology includes goddesses and god.
Okay, that's true. Okay, so on Greek mythology, it's all about a myth or the origin of the Greek and goddesses of from the Greece country. It is so familiar and common now that we call it is Greece from the country of Greece, particularly on Athens. Okay, so okay, um, but before this morning, we are going to know or to familiarize with about a short story on one of the great short story from Greek mythology, the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. So I guess this was so familiar with you, particularly on the junior high school years, who have encountered this story. Okay, none of you? Okay, na. Then I hope this morning I am going to partake the lessons, particularly the moral lessons about which we are going to know or to realize after we discuss the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. So, but before we're going to go to the summary or this or about the story, we are going first to unlock some difficult words which are which could also help us to understand more the story that we're going to tackle about this morning. So first, who may read number one, an answer? Okay, Mr. Ivan, please read the number one.
Number one is bliss,
Okay, please, for
and the answer is letter A.
letter A.
Perfect happiness, great joy.
Okay, let's see if the answer is letter A. Okay, perfect. So bliss or is defined as a perfect happiness or a great joy feeling of a person. So number two, who could answer number two? Please raise your right hand. How about you, Miss Ella?
Uncontested.
Okay, uncontested. What do you think uncontested is?
Maybe intense, eager of enjoyment.
That's letter
D.
D. Okay, let's see if your answer is correct.
No.
Okay. So uncontested is not disputed or challenging. So it means it is being it is traditionally exercised by the people. Like for example, uncontested election. So it means it is not being said by the people or granted by the people, but it is said by the government itself. The next one is devastated. Who could answer devastated? Okay, Mr. Vince.
Letter B, state of being destroyed or ruined.
Okay, let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, that's right. Devastated is of the state of being destroyed or ruined. Now, how about the ascension? Who could answer ascension? Miss Regine, what do you think is ascension?
Process or state of rising.
Okay, let's see your answer. Okay, that's correct. Ascension or a process or state of rising or the state of climbing. That's it. How about the last one, enthusiastic? Okay, Mr. Lester, what do you think? The definition of enthusiastic.
Hindi ko kambasatan.
Medyo talaga.
Enthusiastic, letter D.
Letter D is intense, eager of enjoyment. So let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, that's right. Enthusiastic is intense, eager of enjoyment or a great feeling of extension of enjoyment.
Yay!
After that, we are going now, before we proceed to the whole story, we are going to know the main characters of the story. As we all know, on a story, there is a main character for us to know or more familiarize or visionize the story itself. So Orpheus is one of the characters of the story. Orpheus is the son of Apollo. Do you know who is Apollo? So Apollo is the god of music, and Calliope is the eldest muse, or a maiden, or a beautiful lady known for her beautiful voice. And also Orpheus has a music in his genes. He's famous for playing moving songs on his lyre. What, do you know what is lyre?
Yes.
What is a lyre? No, that's not it. A lyre is traditionally a lyre is somewhat like this, but on the
Strings.
picture it's strange that because it is from the a famous painter of Greek. But a lyre is somewhat like it has a
Guitar shape.
strings on
Good
the
guitar shape.
center, yeah. A
It's
guitar
like
shape,
violin.
somewhat like that.
Okay.
Okay, and Orpheus could charm humans and animals with with his tunes, but even rocks and trees love his stuff too. So anything, any living things, when instructed by the music of Orpheus, it's being captivated by his charms, particularly on his music tunes. So the next one is Eurydice. So Eurydice was a pretty happy-go-lucky gal. She was a wood nymph. Do you know what is a nymph?
What, sir, ma'am?
A nymph? A nymph is somewhat like, for example, just like in the Philippines, we have our like supernatural beliefs like
Okay.
Encanto. So on the Greek mythology,
It's
a
called
nymph was also like somewhat
a superna.
like a goddess or a low class of goddess. So the fact that she wandered off into a field with her best friends tells us that she was probably a chatty, sociable, free-spirited sort of lady. So it is said that Eurydice was a very joyful or sociable nymph or a lady. So the next one is Hades. So who do you think Hades? Who have any idea about Hades? Okay, Mr. Alonso, what is Hades? Who is Hades?
Hades is the brother of Zeus and Poseidon, but who lives in underworld, I think.
Okay, that's right. So Hades is the king of the underworld and ruler of the dead. So Hades isn't known as a big softy. So Hades is a very like if we're going to describe it to our vernacular, is Hades has a poison bateau. Yeah, a very hard-hearted man. So it is a bit surprising that Orpheus is able to talk to him into letting Eurydice go. But eloquent, Orpheus finds a way to pull on the one tender string inside Hades' dark heart, which is his love for Persephone. So Hades doesn't take kindly to people who don't follow instructions, and he certainly doesn't give favors twice. The next one is Persephone. Persephone is the queen of the underworld. So shortly, Persephone is the wife or the queen of Hades. So Persephone is the daughter of Zeus, king of the gods, and Demeter, or the goddess of the agriculture. So Hades was so taken with her beauty that he kidnapped Persephone from Earth, much to the distress of her mother. After some squabbling, Hades and Demeter, so after some squabbling means like after determination of talking between two person, so Demeter reached a compromise. So for most of the year, Persephone can stay above the ground or on the earth, but she must return to the underworld for at least a few months to be together with Hades. So when Persephone is away, Demeter is so depressed to the point that since she is the god of the agriculture, there are no living things such like plants or trees that bears fruit to grow, because Demeter was so sad when Persephone is away. So and now let's go to the summary of the story. Who may read first? The first paragraph. Who can read the first paragraph? How about you, Miss Ella? The first paragraph.
The story begins when Orpheus fell in love with a nymph called Eurydice.
Yes.
They were so madly in love that soon they got married by the Hymenaeus of god of marriage himself. However, at this moment of pure
Least.
bliss, Hymenaeus
Prophesize.
prophesied that happiness had an expiration date.
Okay. So once upon a time, Orpheus and Eurydice was met along the way on a particular or a set on a certain settings of place. So they fell in love badly with each other. So and after that they decided to get married. So while they're on a marriage celebration, Hymenaeus, or the god of marriage, said that a marriage has also an expiration. So after that, an expiration. So Eurydice was a nymph of uncontested beauty. So it means that a very beautiful maiden. So according to Virgil's Georgics, Virgil Georgic is one of the translator and also the one who studied regarding about the story or the myth of Eurydice and Orpheus. So on his view, this great beauty did not go unnoticed. So the beauty of Eurydice was so striking that everyone when seeing her easily catch by her beauty. So a minor god named Aristeos was a god, but not same like Hades, Zeus, because Hades, Zeus, and other gods are high, very or supreme gods, but Aristeos was only a minor god, so a lower portion of God. So Aristeos attacked Orpheus and attempted to snatch Eurydice right after the wedding. So right after the wedding, Aristeos, on as I read and I remember, if I'm not mistaken, on the other version of the story, Orpheus was stabbed by Aristeos on the back. That it made Orpheus suffer for a long time. So after the wedding, Aristeos wanted to snatch Eurydice, for him to have Eurydice by himself only. So the nymph ran into the forest, or Eurydice ran into the forest, where a venomous snake bit her. So Hymenaeus' prophecy came true, as what Miss Ellis have read a while ago, that the god of marriage said that every marriage has its expiration, which is now being prophesied by the god of marriage, and which is now happening by to the two newlyweds. So Hymenaeus' prophecy came true. So in Ovid's version, the other person who study about the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice said that Eurydice was bit by the snake after recklessly dancing with other nymphs in the woods while celebrating her wedding. So on the other hand, on the other version, Eurydice was bitten by a snake on the forest when she was snatched or ran after by the minor god. But on the version of Ovid's is that the nymphs and the other ladies or nymphs also was dancing on the forest, and she was beaten by at her feet. So on Eurydice was dead. So after she was beaten by a venomous snake, Eurydice was dead, and Orpheus had lost his soulmate. That made him so very sad. So after the death of Eurydice, Orpheus was so devastated, or being so broken by the death of Eurydice. So he understood that without her, the life of Orpheus was meaningless, and decided that he was ready to do everything, whatever it takes, for his to have Eurydice again. So as we all know, on this kind of story, particularly on myth, there are certain things that it cannot happen in reality, like bringing the dead back to the living world. So he then took his lyre, which he decided to go to the den of Hades. So after that, Orpheus managed to go through the three-headed guardians, hounds, Cerberus. So as we all know, as I have showed you the pictures of Hades a while ago, it you have noticed that there were a dog or a creature at his back who has a three head. So that was the three-headed dog's name, Cerberus. So by enchanting Cerberus with his music, he began wandering among the souls of the dead until he reached the thrones of Pluto. So on a Greek mythology, Hades was the name, but on a Roman mythology, Pluto was the name of was the other name of Hades. So Pluto and Persephone take the king and queen of the realm of the dead. When they asked him what he was seeking, as they noticed that Orpheus was wandering around their realm or the dead of the realm, they asked him what he was seeking. So Orpheus replied that he was looking for his husband, but somewhat on the situation between the three of them, Hades was being angry because it cannot be done that a dead will be coming back to the living realm. So since Orpheus has no choice, and and he got a great idea, since he is a great musician, so he played his lyre that made Hades and Persephone enchanted, because as he was playing his lyre, he plays on and sing the lyrics is all about the love for his wife, which is Eurydice. So Orpheus was successful in convincing the gods of the underworld to return him to his wife. However, Pluto and Persephone asked him to follow one simple rule. So as they reach on an agreement that Orpheus may get his wife back, but on a one simple rule. So Orpheus would lead the way out of Hades' realm, but he would not allowed to look back behind or to look behind him until Eurydice had left the underworld completely. So it is that is the agreement between between Orpheus and Hades, that when they are going out to the realm, Hades must not look back while they are not yet outside of the living of the realm of the dead. So Orpheus did not hesitate for a second and accepted the proposition of Hades. So walang pag-alinlangan, pumayag si Orpheus sa kasunduan nilang dalawa ni Hades. So Pluto then presented him with Eurydice, and Orpheus began the long ascension to the world of the living. So the journey was now begin for them to be out of the realm of the dead. So afterwards, Orpheus managed to remain calm and did not look back throughout the whole trip. However, the closer they were getting to the light of the world of the living, the more enthusiastic or the more enjoyment Orpheus felt and impatient he was getting when the first beam of light or the strike of light, as they see while they were on their journey out of the realm of the dead, touches his face. Orpheus immediately turned around to hug his beloved. Maybe it is because of excitement that finally they were going out to the realm of the dead and they can be together again. At that moment, when he hugged Eurydice, Orpheus suddenly realized that his terrible mistake. He was standing in the world of the living, but Eurydice was still standing in the dark world of the dead. So what was again the proposition of Hades to Orpheus? for him to be able to get his wife back?
Not to look back.
Okay, very good. Not to look back, or else Eurydice will still be remain forever on the dead of the realm, or on the realm of the dead. So afterwards, since Orpheus looked back, Orpheus immediately understood that poured out was all his labor broken by the bond. What do you mean by this phrase? Poured out was all his labor, broken the bond. What do you mean by that?
Separated.
Okay, it is mean that all of his effort, particularly on outside and along the way his journey to the realm of the dead, was all vanished or useless, since just because of one mistake, one great mistake, he lost the chance, or he lost the second chance that Hades given to him because of his enthusiastic feeling. So, in honor, he took a final look at Eurydice. So as he looked Eurydice, her last word was spoken, farewell. Farewell was the only word, and also it is being said on a very sad and sorrowful tone, so which she could barely hear, and with no further sound, she fell from him again to Hades. So Eurydice got back to the realm of the dead. So, what do you think is the theme of the Koan, aside from being tragic love story? Do you have an idea of the theme of the story? Who could answer? Aside from being tragic love story. Okay, Nan. But again, as we all know, as we understood, do you understand the story, class?
Yes.
Okay. But then, as we all know that even though there is a love, but love could only be a two of choices, a tragic or a happy ending. But in the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, their story or their love story was on the tragic side of love story. So after that, what do you think? What could be our more? What do you think what could we get a moral lesson about the story? So who has any idea about the moral lesson of the story? Anyone? You may raise your right hand if you want to answer. A moral lesson, or simply a lesson that we could get from the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Okay, Miss
So
Reggie.
based on the story, I have learned that love conquers everything, even if you will fight the guy. I mean the
Some-
underworld god.
Oh, okay, that's right. So, on my opinion, a moral lesson could be like instruction and rules should be abide. Following rules brought good advantage to a person. Is it right? Yes. So, as like for example, just somewhat like us as a citizen of this country, if we are going to abide the rules, we are very far away from danger or harm. And also acceptance that it is a trait that should man possesses in life, that everyone should possess in life, because as we all know, particularly if someone is going to lose in our life, it is, though it's so sad and sorrowful, but we have to accept the reality that at the end we are going in that situation also. Okay, thank you class for listening. I hope you have understood my lesson about this morning, and also for your assignment, advanced reading on the next story about a legend which I'm going to give to you on our Google class. Okay, thank you and good morning.
Thank
you
and goodbye, Ma'am Pony.
Di cut na din.
Mayat. Mana sa dadlaw kang ginana.
Okay, thank you. Sige mo, di ko maestra.
I didn't want to see her name in your phone again. That's my bid.
Percy Puni. Ba't siya na naman? Ngayon.
Uy, naka.
Uy.
Hawa ka na ba?
Nakatulog. Bata ko sa sunset.
Wala kasi mamay na sa inyo ano?
Wala. Wala siya ngayon.
I'm going to ask you one question. Who is Sharquisha?
Wala ba ng painter beans?